Wake up, everybody. Like always, thank you for tuning in. Spencer and I do quite the political episode. I try to veer off and get into sports, whether or not there will be any. Today's episode is a distance learning episode, so he's coming in from his home base. If you hear any kids in the background or a wife screaming at the kids, it's all right. It's normal. It happens everywhere. We play a powerful ad put up from an individual of the Republican Party seeking to change Baltimore. We take a quick parenting break. We have a quick phone call coming in from Quahog. I believe Peter has a rant on the road. And as always, Spencer and I get into a little bit of sports, trying to rank our favorite quarterbacks and running backs of all time. And like always, we have to mention our affiliates. Buzzsprout. If you're interested in starting a podcast, Buzzsprout is your one-stop shop. We personally use Buzzsprout, and it is easy as 1, 2, 3. Using the equipment that you already have, set up your profile, and Buzzsprout basically does the rest. They deliver your podcast to all platforms, from Google, Stitcher, to Apple, and everywhere else podcasts are available. Check out Buzzsprout. Let them know that we sent you by following the link in the show notes. Instacart. As you know, it's crazy. Whether it's wildfires or COVID, if it's keeping you indoors, Instacart is your best friend right now. Over hundreds of hand-picked grocers waiting to do your shopping for you and deliver your groceries as fast as within an hour. Check out Instacart by following the link in our show notes. Now for our sponsors. Rosie Cooks. At the Greater Wine Country in Northern California, Rosie Cooks Catering is a gourmet catering service that thrives off of delivering a knockout performance each and every time. This company was built around one woman's vision and strive for perfection in every meal. Rosie Cooks has built a team around exactly that. From weddings to corporate events, gourmet packed box lunches, private dinners, wine pairings, and much more. Check them out on Instagram and Facebook and prepare to drool because it is basically food porn. ROSEYCOOKS. And finally, Newness Productions. NEWNESS Productions.com for all your film and photography needs. And finally, let's get on with the show.
What about the Twinkie?
Who you call it butthead? Butthead.
Y'all talk about me? You take drugs, Danny? Every day.
This is ridiculous. It's crazy. I feel like I'm babysitting, except I'm not getting
I've
paid.
heard police work is dangerous.
It is. That's why I carry a big gun.
Aren't you afraid it might go off accidentally?
I used to have that
What
problem.
did you do about it?
I just think about baseball.
Declare.
Well, welcome on, Bane.
Thank you for having me.
I gotta go to.
I almost put him in one of my promos. I was scouting some of his lines from that movie.
I was born in it. Yeah, I know. Well, I can't drink with this on, but I just
No.
at least wanted to show you that I got my COVID mask.
Yeah, I wore mine out. I got my boy here.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Deadpool.
Yeah, and it's actually like fabric, so it's way easier to. It's nice. Yeah.
Nice. This is like plastic, and it seriously rips up my face trying to put this thing on. It's so bad. I'm taking it off. It's time.
Jeez. Whew. All right. Let's get back to normal because I can't drink that beer without.
All right. Yeah, let's crack these. So you've got. I'm gonna go ahead and let you pronounce yours.
Yeah, this is the rapist. I'm kidding. It's therapist by. It's spelled. If you just put a little space in there, if there was only a little bit of kerning, they could get away with it. But
Right.
yeah, this is by Dust Bowl. It's out in Turlock, which is not too far away from the Lightning Complex fire.
Dude, that stuff's so crazy.
It's crazy right now. Nuts.
What the hell's going on?
There were 370 plus lightning strikes that created fires. And it just so happened that
No, I just mean
everything's on fire.
in general. I feel like nature's fighting back, and we're about to. It's just like is getting rid of California.
It's like God's like, you are not my country. No, I'm playing.
All right. Well, I've got Apocalypse IPA, which I feel is fitting right now.
Totally.
Indian
Great
Pale,
choice.
10 Barrel
Great choice.
Brewing Company. Bend, Oregon. All right, yeah, it's definitely, it's one of those days.
Yeah.
All right, Woody, virtual cheers again.
Cheers.
Bottoms up.
Bottoms up. Yeah, man. Oh. Bend, Oregon.
Yeah.
That's like one of my dream destinations right now, I swear.
Really?
It's beautiful, man. I've actually got family up there, and it's just with everything going on in California right now, I think everyone in California kind of has their feelers out for something a little outside of their comfort zone, and Oregon's one of those destinations, man. At least for me right now.
Yeah, Oregon's beautiful. I don't know if we would head that way. We've looked at a few places, and I think it's Missouri or Texas. Kind of looks like what we're narrowing it down to. But other than that, I don't know. I don't even know anymore. I truly don't.
It's crazy, man. I've got friends that are moving to Idaho next week, and it feels like every couple of weeks I hear of one more person that I'm like super close with that are like, no, man, we're leaving. We're gone. And it's piling up. And dude, the freaking real estate market right now, especially with all these fires going on, people that have the means and want to leave California are doing it. And it's, you got this, it's a seller's market right now. Prices are just through the roof because the fires are burning up all the supply and we can't replenish it fast enough. It's crazy. It's crazy.
The fires are unreal. I swear to God. Let's go through. Well, first off, I gotta say, round two.
Woo. I'm pulling for them, man, because my Kings they can't get their shit together at all. So
I was so stoked today.
Celtics.
Yes, I was so stoked to watch that win. Just sweep it under the rug and on to Toronto. Well, I want it to be LA, Boston again. I think that would be such a good showdown. And maybe that's just me wishful thinking, but
historic franchises.
We could use it right now. We could use something to root for, left or right. Man, but I'm excited. But let's go through the how many memes have you heard now? It's like,
how many memes? What do you mean?
Okay, so some of the best ones I've heard were somebody must have started Jumanji. In 2020, somebody finished the
damn game.
What was the other one that have you heard any?
My feed is so political that I feel like everything I see is about like Kamala Harris being selected and like, hey, why? Party of the old. Oh my God, never mind. I can't even say it. I need it in front of my face, but it's along the lines of like old white guy chooses ex-cop to.
Oh my God. Can we just like point out, what really bugs me about that too? Is only the people that are really paying attention realize that the racism is literally within that Democratic administration. It's like right in our face. Had she not been black, she wouldn't have been chosen. He picked not only racism, but sexism in itself. Like, she is the most unqualified person for the job. She's barely qualified to be a freaking mayor. I mean, she's a good attorney. I'll give her credentials. She's a great arguer. She's a great debater.
When I give the debate points, kudos. She's a great debater. She was grilling during the like Russia probe and stuff like that. Like she was really passionate. But does that mean she's going to be a good vice president? I don't know, man. It just feels
what makes her qualified?
I'm drawing blanks, man. I'm sorry. I feel that Joe Biden chose Kamala Harris solely because she checked the boxes.
Right. An example.
African-American, female.
How's that not racism? You want progress. Where's the progress in that?
I think there's not any to be. I'm just being real. Like it's frustrating because we've got like the Black Lives Matter that says, hey, we don't want to be stereotyped, and yet you choose a candidate based on stereotypes or pulling the race card or whatever. And it's I don't know how to explain it. It's let's not be racist by being racist.
Look, I mean, here's the bottom line. Nobody wants. I don't want Biden as our president. End of story. And to be honest, I don't believe even if he gets in, he's not going to be the president. He'll be a president for a year, maybe 2. Then something will happen. Kamala will be the president. She will be the president. That's who everybody's voting for.
Dude, there was this talking point he said a couple of months ago. And it was like, I want to pick someone who can be president immediately or very quickly or something along those lines. And that just set something off for me. I'm like, what is he not telling us? Is he unhealthy? Is he?
Of course he's unhealthy.
Well, of course. I mean, if elected to president, he would literally be the oldest president ever elected. 77 years old. You're on the decline. Like it's Trump's a few years younger, but you can tell he's still kind of got the cogs going. With Joe Biden, I'm pretty sure he said he was his own husband like 3 times this week. Have you seen those videos?
I've seen so many Joe Biden videos.
Oh my goodness.
I swear to God, there was one that I watched and I literally pulled my van over because it was playing. I had my son put it up in the little carrier and I pulled it over because I said, this isn't real. It's got to be edited or something. So I was like literally watching it over and over and I found it at different places. I was like, this isn't edited. This is just straight raw him talking. Yeah, well, to your point, what he said, so let's go back to your point. He said, it's funny that you say that because I didn't notice that. What I noticed, though, was when he says, what's on the ballot? Did you see that video? What's on the ballot?
No.
Science is on the ballot. He said this on this ballot somewhere that this is for years and years to come. What's on the ballot. So I thought that was kind of interesting too. And why I say this is I truly felt this way. I feel Trump stumbled into office and took the Democratic Party by surprise. And by the time they realized he had traction, it was too late and they were scrambling. And I think what happened was Obama was going to try to hand the baton off to Hillary. And Hillary was going to run, get it, thought Trump was a softball, just tossed to her. She swung out and missed. And it was like, shit, now what? And I feel like Biden is that chance of getting that back. And Kamala might be the next step for 2 more runs, is what they're trying to set up. Or at least her to hand it off to somebody else. What the fuck do I know? But,
I think it's more so the Democratic Party trying to toe the line of its establishment. And if they truly wanted to bring about, real change, the complete anti-Trump would be Bernie Sanders. But the DNC, you saw it back in 2016 when I'm not going to lie, some of the freaking elections, like the for delegates, some of those were completely rigged in Hillary's favor. And it's Joe Biden was chosen, in my personal opinion, because it continues that legacy of the establishment. That, hey, he's not going to ruffle anyone's feathers. He's really close with our foreign allies. And that's, I think, is the big push for him within the Democratic Party, is because he's not going to basically screw anything up. Because believe it or not, I mean, I don't think the Democratic Party wants big changes, especially when it comes to socialism, because it's a redistribution of wealth. And when you're talking about Bernie Sanders, who says, I want to tax the top in our nation, the Democratic Party right now is playing to the big players, the big monopolies, the Amazons of the world, the Teslas, they're playing to how do we maximize big business and corporations at the expense of small businesses that get eaten up or swallowed up by these big businesses. I think again, Joe Biden's just not going to ruffle any feathers. And to be completely honest, the way his mental state's going right now, I truly believe he is just going to be a sit and sign president. He's going to just not be doing very much.
Well, he's going to be a pushover for sure. So I keep listening to the argument on the Democratic side. I want to pay attention to both sides. I want to hear, because obviously I don't think everybody's evil. I just think that they're so dumb in certain ways that they don't see, or they're not in tune with the real world and how shit works. Kind of like, we can eat outside, but can't eat inside, or we're safe as long as we order food, but if we don't, you know what I mean? Like, that's where I think, okay, somebody who doesn't deal with the real world was paid to deal with it and write this shit. And that's an embarrassment. So, but I keep listening to the argument, and all it is about how Trump handled COVID, and it's poorly handled with COVID. And I keep thinking about, okay, well, honestly, the majority of the times that have been an issue is because of Democratic holdouts and getting certain things passed, and constant arguing and bickering over funding for abortion through a stimulus package, or and maybe it's going on both sides, but I kept seeing it, and I'm like, hey, because everybody's paying attention. So all they keep railing him for is how he handled COVID, but at the same time, Governor Newsom even commended Trump for how he handled COVID. And now all of a sudden everybody's flipping, and it's like, you guys not realize that whole party is just full of fucking hypocrisies?
But you know what, dude? It's not just Dem or Reap either. It's they get along. It's just the media loves to portray it as red versus blue. Governor Newsom said it himself that I have a really good working relationship with the president. All the lawsuits being filed against Donald Trump's administration come from the attorney general, and a lot of it is just because of politics.
Bullshit. That's bullshit. That means, okay, so our current administration handled it great, and I don't want to back him. I want to go with this bumbling idiot who can't remember his middle name when asked it, over to deal with what we're currently dealing with just because I have a D next to my name. That's bullshit. And that's why I don't like politics in general. And that's why I hardly like when people call me a Republican. It's like, there's, you can't group me with that. I fucking hate that. I hate that you even group me with it. I have my own opinions, and I definitely argue on the right side too.
There are people to blame on both sides to this whole COVID thing. For starters, Donald Trump tried to institute a travel ban on from U.S. China and vice versa, but it was deemed racist. And if that travel ban would have been into place, we probably could have delayed the cases coming to the United States a lot quicker. I'm just saying. We also had the stimulus package, which was delayed by a couple of weeks because the Democrats tried to steamroll a bunch of, fluff into the stimulus package that Republicans were like, no, why would we agree to giving, $1.5 million to some, art center in New York? It just made no sense. So that's the big reason why there were delays. And I'm sorry to say it, but it's not all Donald Trump's fault, and everyone loves to point it at like this black and white, but there's a lot of gray area.
Oh, you were telling me that you had friends that were upset about state park funding, and they were Donald Trump?
People, state park funding is going down all because Donald Trump is making the cuts. I'm like, no, dude, there are state parks and then there are national forests. State park funding is going down. That's a state issue. That's Newsom. That's the Department of Finance. That's CAL FIRE, whatever. All of that into one. Then you've got national parks, which is totally federal. And if we want to point the finger at Donald Trump and say, you're not doing enough for our national forests, and that's why they're burning down to the ground. You know what, dude? I'm sorry, but the cards were kind of stacked against him. Obama used the Antiquities Act and increased the federal control over all of these acres of land across our country, but without providing the additional funding for maintenance of those forests. So when it's like you or me buying a 2-story house, but only able to like upkeep 1 story of it. You know, it's if you don't have the means to maintain what you have, don't buy it in the first place. And that's what Donald Trump is dealing with, is hundreds of thousands, millions of acres of national forests with a very limited national budget for those forests. And so when he says, hey, California, get your shit together and provide more funding and clean up your own forests, rake the forests, you know, the Democrats love to frickin' just point the finger and say, oh, does he mean rakes? No. If you were like educated, you would understand that he means freaking raking machines that loggers and CAL FIRE often use to get rid of debris that's just collecting at the bottom of our forests. But no, everyone's like, oh, he just wants us to use little rakes on the forest. They're stupid.
Did you wipe your server? You mean with a cloth? I still can't get over that one.
Oh my
God.
God.
With a cloth? How do you on that panel not look at her and go, are you just plain dumb or are you just really that dumb?
You know what she was doing. You know.
I hate that. You can't just ask somebody straightforward.
You mean like with a cloth? No, you know damn well. You were the one with the baseball bat smashing the server.
I just, it's hard. It's really hard. And I hate, like I said, I don't like being lumped into one party. I definitely am not going to be lumped into the Democratic Party, but I hate being fully tossed into the Republican Party when I do think that there are issues that need to be addressed or people that push it a little too far. However, it's hard for me to argue when they make so much sense at this point in time. And you saw that ad, right? By Kimberly Klacik, the Republican running for
Baltimore.
Dude, she dropped that, and I don't care if she meant Democrat or Republican. Facts are facts and stats are stats. If you're a sports person, those were stats she just threw down. Those were 100% stats. How do you fucking argue with that?
And if the shoe was on the other foot, right? Let's say Chicago was completely run by Republicans and you have all this violent crime going on. Wouldn't you want to maybe, hey, nudge, nudge, let's try something different this time?
Right.
But there have been 50 years of really terrible policies that have put people in those positions. And I feel bad. I feel sorry for those cities and those constituents. Like, they probably feel really freaking powerless.
Bro, you know what? We're going to take a 5-second pause because right here, we're going to play that ad just because I want people to hear it. And I want to just hear back if anybody has it. I want to hear if there's any arguments, because if anybody if there's any arguments, I want to hear them on the Facebook, and I really want to read them. I want to see if there's any other insight. Point them out. Point holes in their stories. But let's take 5 seconds.
Let's do it.
Do you care about Black lives? The people that run Baltimore don't. I can prove it. Walk with me. They don't want you to see this. I'm Kim Klacik. This is Baltimore, the real Baltimore. This is the reality for Black people every single day. Crumbling infrastructure, abandoned homes, poverty, and crime. Baltimore has been run by the Democrat Party for 53 years. What is the result of their decades of leadership? Baltimore is one of the top 5 most dangerous cities in America. The murder rate in Baltimore is 10 times the U.S. average. The Baltimore poverty rate is over 20%. Homicide, drug, and alcohol deaths are skyrocketing in our city. Do you believe Black Lives Matter? I do. The vast majority of crime in Baltimore is perpetrated against Black people, who make up 60% of the population. So why don't we care about our communities? The Democrat Party have betrayed the Black people of Baltimore. If the politicians walked the streets like I do, they would see exactly how their policies and corruption affects us. But they don't want to see it. They don't want you to see this. Go to any Baltimore neighborhood and ask this question. Do you want to defund the police?
No.
No.
Absolutely not.
I had 3 sons killed in Baltimore City. And I think if we defund the police office, it's going to be worse than that. So no, I'm opposed to that.
What are you going to defund the police for? Why? How do you defend your city, your community? Families are losing people.
It's not just Baltimore. The worst place for a Black person to live in America is a Democrat-controlled city. It's 2020. Name a blue city where Black people's lives have gotten better. Try. I'll wait. Look at this. How are children supposed to live here and play here? Democrats think Black people are stupid. They think they can control us forever, that we won't demand better and that we'll keep voting for them forever, despite what they've done to our families and our communities. Are they right? I'm Kim Klacik, and I'm running for Congress because I actually care about Black lives. All Black lives matter. Our communities matter. Baltimore matters. And Black people don't have to vote Democrat.
So what she what she said, man, is just, I can't argue with it. If 53 years, if that city has been under Democratic rule, and those are the stats, wouldn't you want change by now? Who cares red or blue at this point?
Insanity is doing the same thing, expecting different results. And what's going on in Baltimore and in many of the cities that she points out in that video, we're pretty fucking insane. Just being real. But the problem, I think, really has to come down to this notion these days where my feelings are more important than your facts. And
yeah, don't let my facts get in the way of your feelings type of deal.
Right. It's tough because when you're dealing with a super sensitive issue like Black Lives Matter or something along those lines, people feel very, very strongly about what's going on in the country when it comes to police use of force. But when you look at the statistics, 90 to 95% of the time that officers, and by the way, I'm quoting FBI statistics, 90 to 95% of the time an officer uses force is because they have been met with force or the person has a weapon on them, a deadly weapon on them. Now, Donald Trump is correct when he says that more white people have been killed by law enforcement than Black people. It's very true when you look at the numbers. But of course, when you look at it from how large is the African American population? You do see a discrepancy. You do see that there are more unarmed Black people that are killed by law enforcement than white people. But it's all about how you word it. It's all about how you phrase the question. I just want people to look at the facts and the statistics and leave the feelings out of it. I get it. It's a passionate issue, but we need to be a country that focuses on how do we bring about progress, looking at what's really happening, not what the media says, not what you personally feel about it, but what is actually happening in our communities and how do we change it?
There's obviously issues. I don't think they're as big as they are being blown up because if you watch Cops, watch like just a few episodes of Cops, and watch just what they go through every day.
We can't do that anymore. I'm sorry. Didn't they just cancel Cops?
No, Pluto TV has like a channel that's all Cops all day.
Oh, okay.
But just watch it. Watch what they go through. Watch the show on Amazon Prime, Night Watch. Watch what they go through day in, day out. And that's like real. They talk with these guys like, hey, I watched one dude like, hey, I didn't want to, if we would have thought you were going to shoot instead of toss that gun, we would have shot you, man. You can't be doing this. We don't want to shoot you. They like talk about it all the time. I'm not saying that
I am authorized to use this firearm. Please do not force me into a position where I need to use it. And they don't give a shit.
Breonna Taylor and stuff like that needs to be handled. It needs to be
obviously.
So let's handle it. And I think everybody thinks it needs to be handled, so let's handle it. But
that entire city needs to be up in arms fighting for Breonna Taylor.
Yeah, well, we also need to have a line of what is good enough so that we can go back to some normalcy and not have people terrified or incite violence or incite anger or rage. Because at this point, man, we were just in the store the other day and we were walking in and, they ask for us to wear a mask. We ask for we wear a mask. We're getting our cart and this dude comes in and he doesn't have a mask. And the greeter there is like, hey, you have to wear a mask. And he's like, oh, okay. And he acts like he's going to reach in his pocket and doesn't. And the guy's like, hey, you have to wear a mask. And the guy just loses his shit. And he's like, I'll wear a fucking mask. He's like, I'll go get my fucking mask. He's like, I don't have my fuck. He was like losing it, like just saying that, like weird shit. And people are ready to snap at any moment. It's inciting this. So
I think that's why the protests were so large when they first broke out, is because you've got these people that are stuck inside. They're agitated. They're unsure of what their kid's going to be doing as far as schooling. It's all of this just bottled up. And as soon as the George Floyd killing happened, boom, that was the spark that lit the match, and just it blew up, and there was just so much, I don't even care. Of course, the protest doesn't care about.
I have a problem with that. I have a problem with that because Breonna Taylor should have sparked the match. George Floyd's full video should have been released.
Okay, but was there video on Breonna Taylor?
There was body cam, wasn't there?
You see, if there was, obviously didn't get enough publicity or put out on social media like the George Floyd video.
Did you watch that full video?
The full George Floyd? The full George Floyd?
Yeah.
I did, and I find it very disturbing that the full video wasn't released at first, because
for so long.
Yeah, man, it was like 3 weeks. Well, I understand
3 months. I think it was like 3 months.
I've lost all concept of time under COVID. I'll be honest.
No shit.
So 3 months could have been 3 days. I don't even know. But, man, you look at this is the deal, man. Is that depending on your state law, and this I deal with this with my firm all the time, right? Is body camera footage and records need to be as private as possible, because they could potentially be used to in court. And so the outcome of that video being released could have detrimental effects on actual justice in the court of when that first video came out, that of the kneeling on the neck, and everyone got all pissed off, I'm sitting in the background like, I bet there's another video, and I'm just gonna I'm gonna be quiet, because I know that there's gonna be something that justifies at least a little bit of what the police officer did. And I'm not saying it did. I'm just being real. The guy is saying, I can't breathe in the police car without anyone's knee on his neck. because
in a car.
he's suffocating from the fentanyl use. Yeah. He's all hyped up on fentanyl. He had like 3 times the legal limit, or there's not even a legal limit on fentanyl, but there's 3 times what normal person can consume of fentanyl. And turns out he's fucking loaded on it.
Yeah, I think it was like twice the lethal limit or something like that.
Lethal. That makes.
I think it was something like that.
But
I'm not sure.
Ugh. When you see, man, and when California back in, I think it was 2015 or 2016, was talking about body cams and mandating it on every single one of our officers, I'm like, you know what? I get it that law enforcement isn't going to like this at first, but I swear to God, it's going to be their best friend at the end of the day, because it's going to show the media and show everyone that the reason why they had to use force. It's going to be the reason why. It's going to show them every progression from, hey, I just want to talk with you, to, hey, I'm going to use less than lethal, to, hey, you're forcing me into a position where I have to use lethal. And each officer goes through training to know those steps.
I think I still believe in the whole Joe Rogan thing, where they should be like a purple belt or something in jiu-jitsu. Or seriously, let's pay for him. I would pay for it. I'd pay for him to learn takedowns that are non-lethal and learn respect and discipline and stuff like that, and be able to take somebody down and know that, hey, this is too long to be holding my knee on somebody's back.
100%.
This is I'm about to do some serious damage. Hey, somebody else come grab his legs. Let's cuff him. Let's get him up, or whatever.
But the state of law enforcement right now, with how frustrated the general public is with law enforcement, or at least social media makes it seem like everyone's pissed off at law enforcement. Recruiting is extremely difficult right now. And so by the time that you recruit someone, put them through academy, that's already been 9 months. They've gone through backgrounds, they've done everything. And just to get them out on the field for an understaffed agency it's an extremely long process. They've got to pass not only background, but mental evaluation and all of this stuff. Law enforcement is feeling the pinch right now.
Oh, there's an exodus. It's like over 120% of the retirement rate because people are just retiring early.
San Francisco, the city of San Francisco just lost 23 or 26 officers since all this started. One of them I actually know personally moved out to the cuts because I might as well just be a sheriff and not have to deal with, I'd rather just jump to a sheriff's department and deal with rural people who respect me rather than in the city where I'm just going to be dealt shit the whole time. Whole shift.
Do we know them?
I think so.
From work?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't blame her either. And if his wife is over there, and which I'm sure many wives are, going, hey, you're a cop.
No, dude, he was commuting 2 hours just to get into the city.
No, I just mean, wives
I get it.
I think wives are worried. They're concerned about their husbands being out as officers, just going out every night, even more so because of all this.
Totally.
It's their lives are at risk, even almost like fivefold.
Right. And on the top of all this, now, you've got understaffed police departments that are dealing and now having to respond to the fires. That's not their, that's not necessarily what they signed up for, but they did. And you've got now police officers working 7 days a week. They're tired. They're overworked. They're underappreciated. And it's just a mix of emotions for these officers that are out there on the front lines trying to do their best. And now because of all this talk of, racism and this over, stereotyping of police officers in general, they don't necessarily see the benefits of their job anymore.
Yeah.
Cheers.
I absolutely could see that. I know, like, I wanted to be an officer, and I know if I were an officer at this point in time, I would definitely look at my job and go, You know, maybe it's time for a
Mhm.
career change, just for the safety, excuse me, of being in my children's lives. You know, you start really weighing that out, and whether or not you really want to be the hero, or if shit's gone too crazy and it's time to get back home and take care of my family.
Yeah. In 2015, 2016, I started putting in applications for, law enforcement agencies, and, I was just out of college and thinking, hey, I'll see what I could get into, if I can get into it. And then the Black Lives Matter protests were going on in Dallas, and you had one guy on a roof that was literally targeting Dallas police officers. And that's when I said, nope, I'm pulling all my applications. Screw this. I don't want a target on my back. Yeah, that's what they're dealing with.
All right. Well, we always dig into politics when we talk. So if you want to get anything else out, let's get it out before we move on to sports news and bullshitting.
Okay. Man, this recently, like I've been dealing with looking at, it's an election year and things are crazy and tensions are high. And there are so many of my friends that I love and respect on so many different issues. And, we can have an interest in video games. We can have shared interest in music and all this shit. And then I see my friends also posting shit like, if you're still supporting Trump, you can unfriend me right now.
Mm-hmm.
To me, when I see that, in my opinion, you are part of the problem with this country. You want to create such a confined little bubble where everyone is patting you on the back saying, yes, good job, that you're completely alienating yourself from people who truly care about you. You're
acting like a candy ass.
Well, I mean, kind of.
I mean, you're acting seriously, you're acting like a little pansy ass.
But if you, and it's funny because it comes from these people that claim to be oh so tolerant. That, oh my gosh, I love everyone. I don't judge anyone on the basis of their skin or their gender identity. But yet you claim to be tolerant, but you can't even tolerate a different opinion.
Right. Well, that's what I see in Trump. Where I look at people that don't like Trump and I go, what's your argument? Now, let's strip it down to bare bones. Like, let's cut it down if we were to look in layman's terms. So he's mean.
You know what, dude? I feel that a lot of times the Republicans are like that friend that gives you the dating advice that you need. You don't want to hear it. Like, yeah, leave your cheating boyfriend, but I love him. No, he's an asshole.
So what you're describing is almost like female male. So like you and I can look at you and go, hey, Spenny, got a few pounds on you there, buddy. What do you think? Hit the treadmill? And you would take it as, oh shit, I need to start working out.
Mm-hmm.
You say, if another chick said that to another chick, boy, earrings would be being pulled off. They'd be like, what's that? Excuse me?
I'm more so like of we're gonna give it to you straight.
Right.
Like, we're just
sorry you don't like it.
I'm sorry you don't like it, but it's something you maybe need to hear.
Yeah.
And
I appreciate that though. I think that's what most people appreciated about him was like, you may not like what he says or how he says it. Hell, I don't like it. I don't want fucking Donald Trump as our president, but right now I definitely don't want Biden as our president. Like those are our two options. And right now I feel like he's not the president we want, but he's kind of the president we need because he's a hard ass and we need it right now.
No, okay. He got us he improved the economy once. I truly believe he can do it a second time, especially when the election's all over with.
Unless somebody stands in his way.
I think we're either going to have COVID completely go away after the election, or sup, Logan, or we're going to have 4 years of everyone trying to make sure that those 4 years of Trump are just detrimental so that the next 8 years can be controlled by Dems.
I think that's 100% it. I think it's the latter because I don't think feels like they're going down swinging. You know what I mean? I feel like it's like Trump really shook the fucking house and they're like falling and swinging. You know what I mean? Whatever they've got, they're throwing it at the walls. Oh, he supports white supremacy. He literally said not this white supremacist or the neo-Nazis. Those should be completely condemned. Oh, you guys, we're just going to cut that audio out. Nobody's going to hear this.
I fucking love watching those, like, Democracy Now! Or, like, Occupy Democrats videos where they put exactly what they want, like a 2-second snippet of what someone says to fit their narrative, but they're completely missing every valuable talking point within that speech. You know,
it sucks because I feel like the Democrats have something. I think Democrats have good policies within their administration. It's being just muddied up within it. I mean, look, when everybody says the Pledge of Allegiance, one nation under the republic,
the thing.
We don't say under the democracy. We gotta say under the republic because
it's under God. But I think one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. But I know what you're talking about.
No. It's
to the republic for which it stands.
Sorry.
Wow, we just repeated
Jesus
like
Christ.
Kindergarten. Right.
How many
there.
beers did you have before we started this?
None. But this is a 10%.
The answer was 5.
Good one.
Oh man, the unfriending thing is just like I just had somebody do that. What's funny about that is I mentioned them not by name, but I mentioned them on my last episode about the outlandish crap that they post, and the very next thing I know, we're not friends anymore on Facebook. And I was just like, whatever. And my whole thing was, and what I was saying about that person was, I don't unfriend them, even though they say outlandish shit that I disagree with, because I truly believe in the First Amendment. And the First Amendment allows us freedom of speech. And if I'm going to ask for my First Amendment, then I'm going to give you yours. That's the way it goes. If I believe in a two-way street, we got to practice the two-way street. So, but they... they unfriended me and it's like, okay, ooh, but the sad thing about it is that person I found actually semi-intelligent enough to find some truth in what they're saying. And I'm not going to be able to read it anymore because they're like, oh, you don't like what I say? I'm just going to cut you off. I'm going to cancel you. Kind of like this cancel culture, which here's my fucking rant. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for somebody to step up and get fired for a Facebook post, a tweet, Instagram post, something, a political post, an All Lives Matter thing. I'm waiting for Grant Napier to go, you know what? I'm going to take this to court because that's discrimination against my First Amendment. So I'll see your ass in court. I'm waiting for the first person to sue and stand up for that right because they're well within their legal rights to do so. You cannot fire somebody because they said something unless they're out there saying rapey, rape. I mean, it's okay. You can't fire somebody for saying, I think everybody's lives matter because cops are out there too, and they're full of diversity. You can't do that shit. That's not what we're about. You're basically begging for your voice to be heard, but instead you're shutting everybody up by shaming them to feel like they don't get their own opinion. Everybody's allowed their opinion. It's not an all or nothing thing. You fucking hypocrites. Cheers.
Cheers.
Are we getting a phone call?
You know what really grinds my gears? is that Roseanne Barr can never return to television because she said some racist stuff. I'm not saying it was warranted, but what I'm saying is that if a Democrat did that, all they'd have to do is go to Africa, find themselves, and then they'd get all the praise, and everyone would say, he's a changed man. But Roseanne, nah, the Connors suck without Roseanne. Go Bucks. Hey, I got Tom Brady, Patriots. Shit.
That was a nice little phone call from Quahog.
Home of the talking clam.
Oh, Jesus. Speaking of football, buddy, and San Francisco.
Go on. You gotta. I'm sorry, man. My son's trying to join the conversation here. All right, I'm back.
Oh, all right, I'm gonna crack another beer. Have you had this? I had this last week. Uba Dank.
Yes,
it's good, man. That's really good.
Who's it by again?
West Coast IPA, brewed by New Glory Craft Brewery in Sac.
New Glory in Sac, dude. Yeah, they've got a really good milkshake IPA.
Leave that shit out of my beer.
I know. I'm sorry. Dude, there's the brewery. Have you ever seen? I believe it's New Glory. They came out with Breaking Bud.
Oh yeah, I saw something like that, and I saw another one that they had was Bro, Do You Even Illusion?
But yeah, dude, they sued. They got sued by like the producers of Breaking Bad or like Sony or something.
Oh no. Speaking of which, did you see that shit Cuties by Netflix?
Dude, I saw
before we get into
social media blowing up about that. Dude, and did you see the shit that they pulled today? They said like, "Oh, we are sorry for the description and the artwork."
Oh, that was like 2 days ago.
Associated with but so we are so sorry for the artwork and the description that we gave it in the title. We are changing that. And I'm like, okay, but are you going to remove the video? And they're like, no. And it's funny because like you do the research and like one of the executive producers on the freaking video was like arrested for molesting a 10-year-old like multiple times.
It goes further than that, bro. So they said their defense was Sundance, that it won an award. It won an award at Sundance, and it's a very daring movie. So
in France.
So I said, oh, okay. So your apology should have read, sorry about the pedophilic ad on a daring movie about sexualized 11-year-olds that won an award at a film festival co-founded by a convicted pedophile serving a prison sentence for sexually abusing a 7 and 9-year-old. Is that better?
Christ.
So the place that it won an award at was co-founded. I'm not saying they're related, but hey, do you believe in coincidences? Because I'm not sure if that one is. And you know what? Here's my deal with it, because the argument is that it was marketed improperly and that the movie actually, who people have seen it, actually opens the eyes about it's speaking out against what people are having a problem about is sexualizing 11-year-olds, and that it's a very daring movie about how it's wrong about sexualizing 11-year-olds. And I was thinking to myself, I don't need a movie to show me that sexualizing 11-year-olds is bad. I know sexualizing 11-year-olds is bad. Nobody's going to watch this film and go,
it's illegal.
Right. Nobody's going to watch this film and go, oh, okay. Now I'm going to change my ways. No, sick pedophiles are going to watch this film and watch certain scenes and pause it. Because I remember pausing the little scenes when I was a perverted teen on like Showgirls or whatever just to see a clips of a boobie. You know, I mean, it was just like, so you know what's going to be done about this. It's like, I don't need that. I don't. And the problem with it is it's going on Netflix, which means it's going to everybody's homes, and every kid is going to have access to this. This isn't an independent film that you have to go out on the black market or something and get. This is, hey, fire up the Netflix.
Yeah. I feel like people that will watch that video are the same creeps that get turned on by like breastfeeding videos. Or like, you know, or breastfeeding posts. It's sick. It's disgusting.
What it's like, I didn't need to make a movie about rape so that I can tell the people that rape is bad. No, we all know rape's bad. Okay, we all know pedophilia is bad. How about we start making a bigger deal about the co-founder of Sundance was convicted of pedophilia? How about we start making more bigger deals about that?
It's not, but it's not just Sundance. Oh, I'll tell you why we're not making a big deal about it. It's because Hollywood is full of pedophiles. And the moment that you start one, you chastise one, you're gonna have to chastise them all. And it's this protective bubble, right, of Hollywood, and it's sick.
It's gross. I don't need to watch a movie to wake me up about sexualizing 11-year-olds. I know it's wrong. If I see anybody, I'm against the Miss fucking 5-year-old teen pageants. My daughter's not going in that shit.
Yep.
The only people that attend that shit are fucking weirdos, sickos, or I mean, it's just, I'm sorry.
Or
it's
moms willing to sell the soul of their children for some popularity.
No good. I see no good coming from it. No good. I don't need to spray tan my 5 or 6-year-old. Absolutely not.
Hey, honey, put in these veneers. You're gonna be gorgeous.
No, so it's the same thing. I don't need to watch it. I don't think that's right. I don't need to watch this movie to prove to me that sexualizing 11-year-olds is bad. Thank you, though. If I see somebody doing it, I'm gonna beat the shit out of them. Just so you know. So that if that does it for you, I mean, I'm sold on being wrong or that being wrong. Jesus, what the fuck? I don't need it in my house. You know?
And did you see, dude, there's also another one on Netflix that's a little questionable. It's called I, Pedophile.
What?
And it's understanding the mental illness of pedophilia.
Which is being passed around. Yeah.
It's up there right now. I mean, you can. I don't want to watch it either, but I mean, someone's gonna say, "Oh, Spencer, you just don't understand. It's an illness." I'm like, no. If it's an illness, go get fucking treated before you like act on it, please. For the love of God, if you are finding yourself in a position where you're like wanting to act on your disgusting fantasies, please, for the love of God, go get mental help. You need it. Please, let's reverse this. Let's find you something good. Let's find you a hobby.
It's not on Netflix. It's on Amazon.
Oh, it's on Amazon.
What the fuck is happening?
Yeah, dude. So I'm like, they're trying to.
If that's a mental disorder, I have a muscle spasm that happens around my trigger finger around pedophiles. I can't control it. It picks up a gun. It
just goes off.
And it just starts fucking squeezing the trigger. I don't know. Do you see this? We're talking about it, and I just start doing this. I'm glad I don't have a gun.
Yeah, I just feel that we've gone so far to normalizing these things that are just straight wrong, and everyone's trying to push it as like, oh, you just don't understand it. Oh, you just don't get it. That it's not. Someone doesn't choose to be an addict. But you're right. Maybe they don't choose to be an addict, but you got to live with the consequences of your decisions. And if you touch a 12-year-old, you're either going to get shot or you're going to jail, and you should be a registered sex offender for the rest of your life. I'm sorry. don't get me wrong, I do believe that we need services in place to make sure that these people who are sick get the help that they need. And you need the courage to stand up and say that I need help. But for the love of God, I will kill anyone who frickin' tries to touch my daughter or my son in an inappropriate way. My God. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really glad we went into this before we went into sports.
No shit.
Because there needed something to be said on that.
I don't know what's going on. I do know a lot of people are about to pull the plug on Netflix.
I may be one of those people.
Yeah, I don't need my 13-year-old watching that. You know, it goes. There's a border, and I think Goonies. I think Stranger Things. I think they've reached it. You know, there's a safe border to film children and make it a romantic story, but also funny and age appropriate. But like, you know what I mean? Like,
I think you also though need to think about Corey Feldman. Even though the story of what is being told on screen is lighthearted and nice, you also gotta really think what's happening behind the scenes. Are these kids being exploited? Are they being touched? There needs to be some ramifications and some guidelines to make sure that these kids are protected. Yeah, we got some talented kids. I fucking love Stranger Things. But I let's make sure that more kids like that are protected and their parents are involved. But let's ensure that those child actors are just protected the fullest extent of the law.
You know, I'll point out a interesting observation, and there's only a handful of actors and celebrities that actually have their kids also actors, and I wonder if that has anything to do with it. Like, they keep.
I think it's because they know they already sold their souls to the devil, and they don't want their kids to go through that shit too.
Dude,
that's my own personal opinion. Sorry.
Maybe, and because there really isn't. I mean, there's what Rumor Willis. You have Jaden Smith. You have, and Rumor Willis really isn't much. Who else? Who else has their kids in? Tom Hanks, but there's also that rumor. So, you know, you have Colin Hanks, but
Colin Hanks is great. By the way.
Yeah, he's outstanding.
Love that guy.
They're both great actors. They're both outstanding actors.
Good genes.
But what else? You know, there's really not that many.
You know what's funny? My favorite drummer is Travis Barker, favorite drummer of all time, and his daughter is in the music business. And I want to say a couple years ago, she was only like 15, 16, and a 21-year-old like drummer in the business like messages his daughter on Instagram and is like, "Hey, let's hang out." And he comes to her defense like, "No, you're not going to fucking do this." He put him on blast. And since then, his daughter has not had a lot of success, has not had a lot of hits. I think she's been on like Disney Channel radio or whatever. But I think a lot of artists want to protect their kids from the realities of the business. They know that sex sells. They know that they know all the ins and outs of it. It's a tough business, and it just makes me sick thinking about it, quite honestly.
Anybody touches my kid, I'm digging a hole.
In my backyard. Hey, I found out a trick. If you first dig 6 feet, bury the body, then you dig another, then you pack it up, and then
These are secrets. These are secrets. These are off-air secrets.
But you put but you find a dead dog and you put it on the at 3 feet. No one ever really digs any deeper, so you'll be covered.
So if you find a dog, don't dig deeper. Anyways, So, all right, let's get off this gross shit, man.
Yeah, let's talk something more lighthearted.
Niners.
Oh God,
your Niners.
I'm so mad. I'm so mad right now.
Why are you mad?
There's so many fucking injuries.
You guys
on
might
the
be
Niners
getting,
right now.
You guys might be getting Earl Thomas.
Is that breaking news? Like, I haven't checked my phone since we started this.
Yeah. Earl Thomas got into a fight in the Ravens locker room, and he's been asked to leave. So he might be a cut.
He's already been released.
All right. Well, It looks like Cowboys, Niners, and Texans.
And also Philadelphia is in the mix too, apparently.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Let's see where he lands.
I think he would end up in Dallas, to be completely honest. That's his hometown. That's where he wants to be. He already told Dallas last year, hey, come get me. Or was it 2 years? It was 2 years ago. Hey, Dallas, come get me. And he's at that age where it's just kind of like, is it really worth it? He made $22 million last year with Baltimore, and he's due another $10 million this year. Is he worth the money? I think the Niners are set, though. It's safety. They got Jaquiski Tart and Jimmy Ward. Jimmy Ward was a top 5 fucking safety. I think they're set. They don't really need it unless they want some fucking depth. But, oh shit. If they keep having the injury problems that they do, it's very possible they might go after Earl Thomas.
Well, your boy Kittle got paid.
Yeah. $15 million a year. What?
5-year extension.
Love it, because that brings him. He's extended at least through Kyle Shanahan's contract, so they'll be tied at the hip the whole time. He might have 2 years without Jimmy G if they don't extend him. It's going to be weird these next 2 years because COVID has impacted the salary cap so fucking much. Like $15 million a year next year is a huge chunk of change. Just saying. But he did set the record for highest paid tight end, and then 2 hours later, freaking Travis Kelce gets a deal for 14.7 or 14.8 mil a year. Those are my 2 top tight ends for fantasy football. I do love Mark Andrews, and I do love Austin Hooper as well. Those are my top 4 probably. Just throwing that out there.
Boy, well, it's going to be interesting if you even have a year. With the NCAA.
Don't talk about that.
With the college going out. College football, no football.
Very true.
I think it's really, you know what? I think I don't want to say this. I don't want to say it, but if Trump gets elected, I think there's no football.
It sucks that that's the correlation, or that's the connection. That if Trump is reelected, that basically everything is canceled for another year or 2 or 3 or 4. I just you deny football. You deny football in those big football states like Texas, Alabama, Oklahoma. There's gonna be a fucking revolution, man.
Boy. Anyways, well, it's interesting all around the league. I've been watching my Bengals.
And how are they doing?
Burrow, I guess, apparently his obviously this is stupid. This is a scrimmage, but scrimmage, he went apparently 6 for 6 and 69 yards, like against their own defense. And Bengals defense isn't what it should have been. Or what it was, but apparently he's got real good. He's liven the place up. Everybody's real excited. I think we'll see. I don't know. I've never, ever, ever believe in first-year quarterbacks. I don't believe in them. It's just me. I don't believe in them. It's like a hard sell. It's like if you prove it to me, if you deserve it, prove it to me then. And I'll give you my applause. But until then, I'm going to go, I don't know.
I think there's a lot for first-year quarterbacks to learn. And I feel that they need at least 8-9 games behind that starter to really get up to speed and learn the offense. I don't think I've seen a team do it right for a really, really long time. I would say the Chiefs probably did it right by having Patrick Mahomes study a year behind Alex Smith, get used to it, learn not only the offense, but get acquainted with his teammates. Yeah, and Lamar Miller didn't have a good freshman year either. They put him in near the end of the year, and yeah, he did really good on the run for a few games. I agree with your statement. Yeah, first-year quarterbacks, you just kind of stash them on your bench for maybe the end of the year if it's fantasy. But it's Burrow's a tough sell for me too. It's just, God, man, they've sucked for so long. It's hard to imagine that one guy can really change an entire franchise. And
I don't believe in like a quarterback that's just going to come in without any NFL experience. None. When does that happen? When has it happened?
It hasn't, probably since the fucking AFL, way back in the 90s. Someone coming in from a professional system going to another one. Steve Young, to be honest. No, I'm kidding.
He rode the bench, bro.
What?
Even he rode the bench.
Didn't he? Wasn't he with the Bucks for a year? Yeah, he came into the league, was with the Bucks, and then got traded to the Niners.
Yep. So even he rode the bench behind Joe.
He threw a lot of interceptions, and then as soon as he behind Bill Walsh, man, Bill Walsh polished that motherfucker. I think it does come down to coach, though. Who the hell's the coach for the Bengals these days?
It's Zach Taylor, the quarterback coach for the Los Angeles Rams. Again, it's under Jared Goff.
Oh, okay. Good luck.
Thanks.
I'm sorry.
It is what it is.
I had to deal with fucking Jim Tom Sula as a head coach, and then Chip Kelly. Oh God, those were bad.
You mean Jim Tom Sula? He looks like Ron Jeremy's brother.
He looks like he wakes up and has a fucking tuna salad sandwich every morning.
I'm gonna post a picture on Morning Brew's Facebook of Ron Jeremy next to Jim Tom Sula. And you're going to look at it and go, yep.
They're related.
Yep. I mean, he even wore that gold chain around his neck. Like it was. Oh, man. Funny stuff.
Yeah, but the Niners rookie, Brandon Ayuk, just got injured today. Possible hamstring strain. They had DJ Jones out with concussion. Fucking 2 other guys got injured today. One of them being D Ford, our defensive end. And then you've got, I'm not joking, we have had probably 12 injuries just this week. And it's the first fucking week, or first or second week of training camp. I'm glad we're getting them out of the way to begin with. But God, that puts a lot of stress on the front office to find just some bodies to put in there for Jimmy G to throw to.
It's hard for me. Like I said, it's hard for me to even get excited because I don't even know. Like if
you don't want to get your hopes up. You don't want to. You don't want to.
Season? Is there going to be a season?
I think it's going to come down to those first 2 weeks. If the NFL can get its act together and no positive COVID cases. Have you heard anything on the COVID front in the NFL since they started training camp? Because I personally haven't. No flare-ups.
I've heard that they test, before they go in and everything.
They test on a daily basis, and I haven't heard a single person be put on the COVID list this whole week, which is huge. So maybe they're getting it right. I'm concerned about travel. Okay, what happens when you put all these fucking players on a train, on a train? What am I talking about? On a plane and get them to a different facility? What's gonna happen there? I don't know.
I don't know, man. But I don't know. I'm not excited. It's probably the least excited I've been since the Niners moved to Santa Clara.
Then you officially switched your allegiance to the Bengals.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, that first year it was like, I rooted for the Bengals, but it was just such a letdown.
Mm-hmm.
Just such a disappointment, man. I just posted it. Go to the Facebook real quick. Go to the Morning Brew Facebook and look at the picture, because this is why, man. There's no atmosphere anymore. That's the way it should have been built. I'm not saying Levi Stadium's bad. It's not the greatest stadium, but the placement, looking out around the Santa Clara Valley, I don't think so. Thank you. That's the way it should have been.
That's how it should have been.
That's how it should have looked.
But then again, they'd be playing on fucking Alcatraz to get that type of shot of the Golden Gate Bridge. I think that's Nob Hill. I know that's not real or anything, but that's what I mean though. I have a few others with like the Bay Bridge. I even have them where they could have built up near Berkeley, and it still would have had a stunning view of San Francisco and still been the San Francisco 49ers and not literally, that's the whole thing, is like there's no atmosphere anymore. Why would I go? Even if we got unless you get 50-yard line tickets, you get nosebleeds. What do you have to look out on? A parking lot? Cool. That's the whole cool allure about not only now Golden State Stadium, but not AT&T Park, Oracle Park, I think it is now with the Giants, is even in the nosebleeds. It's like, wow, you see the fog rolling over the bay, and you see the bay and the Bay Bridge, and it's a view. There's atmosphere to it. Now it's just, let's go plant it in the cheapest place, sorta near San Francisco, and then take away all their tailgating rights. And they're dealing with some city shit too. The city of Santa Clara is not happy right now with Levi Stadium. It's just a shit show.
Where's this? What's going on?
There have been disputes about the location since the conception of this idea of having Levi Stadium, and how much tax revenue it was going to bring to the city and all this stuff. Well, now with COVID, it's kind of made those discussions even more intense, because wow, you're not going to have any tourists, you're not going to have any visitors this year. The promised tax revenue is not going to be there. It's just been, I don't know the details in particular. I just know it's related to revenue and taxes and promises made by the San Francisco 49ers that they're not delivering on. And city of Santa Clara is mad about it. Well, they can't. I would love for them to move back, but the second that you start talking about putting a stadium in San Francisco, you're going to have all the environmentalists all up in arms.
They just did it with Golden State. They're in the middle of doing it.
But are you?
So it's impossible?
I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying that there's just not going to be a lot of support for bringing the Niners back, because they're not a championship team like the Golden State Warriors were when they fucking started first approving these plans.
But they went to the Super Bowl, so
they went to the Super Bowl.
If any time to make an attempt is probably now, unless they make another playoff run. But
then why'd they move in the first place, right? Why would you take a Harbaugh led? Yeah, exactly.
Money. It's not like it was going back into the cap space. So let's be real. You really sold out. You sold out for fans to drive out to traffic-filled Santa Clara for no reason whatsoever.
And it's so fucking hot out there. Let's if they would have invested. Oh my god! If they would have put, I think it was like an extra $1 million or something like that to put like a freaking just a shade covering over the top like they have at Miami. It's so bad. Me and my brother went like to a Niners Packers game a couple of years ago, and it was only 75 degrees, but because there was no breeze, we were directly in the sunlight. You had like the thermometers out there saying it was like 105 degrees. It was just, it's miserable for fans out there.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's just, and like I said, there's no atmosphere. There's nothing to do after the game. Like I said, there's nothing to do before the game. I think it was you. I think it was you who said, it was like one of the first years that they had stadiums. I think you had tickets and you were like, hey, you want to go? We have tickets or something. And I was kind of like, to go to Santa Clara? And didn't do what? Go to Best Buy afterwards?
Yeah, oh my God. There's I think only maybe like one or two hotels that have their bars open for fans.
We'll hit the Cheesecake Factory.
It's a shitty environment. It's so terrible out there. And I love my Niners. I love the Bay Area, kind of. Not really. I take that back. But
look, San Francisco's beautiful. It's beautiful.
San Francisco,
gorgeous.
There was that.
It still is.
There was that football weather from the time that you stepped out of the car. The Bay Area breeze where you needed a windbreaker. You were with fans like in your denim jackets or whatever, or wearing a jersey. You needed to layer up.
That's why I put the fog in that image.
Oh,
it was like there's that fog roll over Candlestick. That was the atmosphere. It was your team.
It makes no sense to have the foghorns at Levi Stadium,
right?
Because
it makes no sense to show the Golden Gate when you're coming back from commercial.
Oh my God, I hate that. That's the number one most frustrating thing when you're watching a Niner game and they show little clips of the Bay Bridge, the Golden Gate Bridge, and then like the little trolley car. I'm like,
it's so
those are all 30 miles away.
To people that are locals, it's rude. You know, it's like it's like how I have a problem with this pumped in crowd volume at these bubble stadiums. It's like I was watching the Celtics and Tatum was taking a free throw at the free throw line, and he's going up, he's lifting up for the shot, and then the crowd gets louder, and he shoots, and then it comes down, and I'm going, now is that pumped into the stadium or is that just pumped into my TV? And I find myself thinking about that shit rather than focusing on the game. And I'm just like, stop it already. Let me hear them. Let me hear the players. I'll hear the crowd when the crowd gets back there.
I've seen it. I've seen like, courtside shots of like, CBS Sports is on like the sidelines or whatever, and they're recording. And the level of noise that they hear on the court is so not like fan noise. It's some deadened version of it.
I would pay to hear what's being said on that court. I would pay extra just to hear the vocals, the mic'd up.
Didn't we talk about this?
Yeah, we did. I know.
Okay.
It's a great idea. I think they need to implement it and give people the option to pay $5 extra a month to hear like uncensored versions of what's on the court. If there's nobody in there, here's a money making scheme here, guys. Like, what the fuck?
If you can't make a free throw these days in this environment, or they're in this bubble, and there's no waving fans doing stupid like clapping inflatable things, you should be benched. No.
Well, Shaq would have been third string then.
Shaq, God, man. I was watching Kobe and Shaq. By the way, Kobe's birthday's today. Shout out to him.
Maybe
up
this
in
will
heaven.
all end. That was the other meme. Is you said Kobe was holding like the universe together, and him dying was the start of 2020.
Okay, this is a weird fact. I looked this up. I'm like, okay, what does COVID mean in Hebrew? It means Kobe. You translate COVID into Hebrew, it's Kobe.
Was it really?
I look it up, man. I
That's
swear.
interesting. You always have these weird little facts.
Dude, I'm chock full of them. It's a curse.
Wow. Anyways, the Celtics on to round 2. Football may be around the corner. We don't know. We're all like watching behind our fences, just hoping football's coming.
We're like that neighbor in Home Improvement, just checking
Wilson.
out. Hey, how you doing?
Wilson.
We still on?
Yeah. Yeah, no, seriously. I don't. And I said this on my last, I think it was on my last podcast. I said it's like, I listened to Adam Carolla talk about how pure the sport is. And that's the one thing where if your daddy's the owner of like the New York Giants, you don't get to be quarterback. You have to be good. Like it's the only thing pure we like have left. And that's why it's so big if games are rigged or something like that. So we have nothing to root for. We have nothing to like be excited about and happy about. But it's coming back. I'm getting pumped. I was stoked to see the Brooms out today, watching them sweep Philly under. So,
yeah. Did you hear that the owner of Barstool Sports is apparently moving to Pennsylvania, and he called out the Sixers, and he's like, I'm a little embarrassed that like I'm moving to Philadelphia and you guys aren't in it,
bro. Boston all day. I hope so. I think it would be an awful showdown against LeBron and Anthony Davis versus Kemba Walker and Jason Tatum, and Gordon Hayward's out. I don't know for how long, but I just think it's a really good matchup. I really do, and I think it's just a rivalry that almost the nation needs, seeing that green and yellow against each other in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, what the hell do I know? I don't know anything.
I'm not a huge fan of basketball. I just know that I can dribble.
You can dribble
and,
barely with one hand.
That if you shoot the ball around that semicircle, it's a 3-point shot.
Oh, white.
I'm so white. It's terrible. I apologize for my whiteness.
I love basketball. I was just too short.
Yes,
just
you are.
Checked people all day. That's all I did. I was too much into football. I implemented football into soccer when I played, and I implemented football into basketball. I just checked people. Should have played hockey.
Dude, I would have loved to play hockey. I was talking to my dad about this actually. Like, hockey was I was a super good skater, but like,
I was a terrible skater.
Dude, it was fucking $120 a month.
What?
Per kid.
Oh.
To play ice hockey out in Stockton.
Have you looked what it is to enroll your kid into football right now?
How much?
It's like $300 non-refundable deposit.
Okay. And then
it's like $140 on top of that for all their gear.
Mm-mm.
That's a lot of money.
You see, my dad actually started the Lodi Junior Flames, and he did it because he didn't want to make a profit off of it. He just wanted kids to be able to fucking play football.
But how much is it then to start now? Because I think it was one of those schools that
He started it off super cheap, man. He started off the pricing super cheap. It was basically just at cost, like, hey, your pads, your uniform, whatever. We just want to get this thing started. It was never a money-making scheme. But now, dude, it's I don't know the makeup of the organization anymore, and fuck, they can't even play this year because of COVID. So, but I want to say it's a pretty penny. It always is. Youth sports is crazy, especially competitive. Ugh. But hey, you do it to put your kid in the best position possible to win a scholarship. And so if you're willing to upfront the cost to make sure your kid is successful and gets into the school that they want to, by all means, you're making that sacrifice.
It's a danger. I rethink things a lot. There's times where I saw stars after it hits, and I just shook it off, you know. And then I look back now, I go, wow, you know, I had headaches for days after that. I do. I look back and I go, my head fucking hurt. You know, I was always changing the pads out, trying to think that no, maybe it just didn't fit right.
My dad played since he was like 8 or 9 years old, and played until he was 20, 23. And dude, he's actually right now in a Boston college or Boston University test for CTE. So they're testing his brain. They tested him a couple years back, and now he's got to go back in 5 years or something like that to get retested to see if his brain is still functioning at the same level or if it's worse. Yeah, man. Shit. My dad says every day, like, fuck, I almost wish I didn't even fucking play football because he's got messed up hips, everything.
It's one of those things that's only worth it if you're going to be a star.
Yeah, very, very true. And I think you gotta figure that out from a very young age. Are you going to be in that you know, that age group or that percentile that can make it?
Or is it it's got to be worth it because it's the only thing you have. Actually, you know what? Last Chance U, the most recent season is Laney in Oakland, and there's actually a bunch of kids that commute from Stockton, and they're traveling up there. It was an interesting season too.
There were a couple kids from Sacramento, I think, too, on that team, or Elk Grove.
It's very it's something you should think about and have a long conversation before letting your kids play it. I think. I mean, if my kids want to play it, there's going to be a long conversation of, okay, you have to be very aware of your body, and you have to be aware of your head, and you have to be honest with us when you start seeing things, you know, or you start noticing things. We've got to cut it short.
We understand you want the playing time, but at the same time, your health is more important than the playing time.
Of course. Anyway.
Yeah, dude, my son is 90th percentile in his weight and height and all that. He's going to be a monster. And we keep talking him up like, oh, he's going to be this freaking beast on the football field. He's going to be a linebacker. He's going to do all this. He loves to hit people. In me in the face in particular.
He's going to drop that shoulder.
Boom. Yeah, dude, he's built to play football.
I know. I think he Rhino checked me a few times when I came to pick you up that one day.
That's right. Yeah, man, he's a beast. I look forward to him, but I want him to make the conscious decision to do it for himself. You know, not me forcing him into the sport.
Right.
Because I think that it's very important that you hold on to those years of healthiness before you start putting yourself in danger's way. And I think we all know that football is a very contact sport, and you're gonna have some wear and tear later on.
Oh, did you see Lamar Jackson basically was like, no, we're good. We don't need who was it from the Cowboys? Is it not Elliott? Dez Bryant.
Dez.
We don't need him. He's like, we're good. And then they're interested in Antonio Brown.
I think it'd be very interesting if you go with Antonio Brown because isn't he suspended for the first 8 games of the season?
I'm not sure what he is, but I do know, Lamar Jackson was very interested in Antonio Brown versus Dez Bryant. He made a comment saying that Dez Bryant looks good on social media.
I agree. Because the first time that he stepped on the fucking football field with the Saints, when the Saints wanted to sign him, he tore his something. He had an injury first day and was out for the season. I think Antonio Brown, if there's any athlete that can come back in the same form, dude, I've watched Antonio Brown like on a social media and everything. Dude is jacked. Dude is ready. He's been playing. He's keeping up.
Take him. I'll take him. I'll take AJ Green on the left and Antonio Brown on the right with Joe Burrow.
It's just a matter. It's a matter of, okay, which team can wait 8 weeks for them to fully utilize that guy? Can they?
Yeah. Why not?
You know what? Why not? I say the Bengals because it's going to take 8 weeks for Joe Burrow to get his feet under him.
I'm worried that Joe Burrow's not going to last. I think he's going to have an injury week 4.
Injury prone?
Yeah. Well, no, just
who they play in week 4?
He doesn't know. It's not by week 4 is just what I'm saying. I think that it's different. You go from NCAA and you get into the NFL and it is a whole different animal. And just so you know, week 4 they're playing the Jaguars, but week 3 they're playing the Eagles, and week 2 they're playing the Browns. So those are going to be some knuckle busting games.
Is Myles Garrett reinstated? Is he back? I couldn't remember. I know for the helmet incident he was out.
Yeah, he's in team drills.
Okay, so he's back. Those are two. Dude, those defensive ends on those teams are really good.
Yeah. So by week 4 and then week 5, he's got the Ravens. So and you've got Lamar Jackson, who is a fucking stud at quarterback. So I just don't see it. I don't see my boys putting it up. I think it's going to be a learning year. I think it's going to be a learning year mostly for the quarterback. And unless they get their offensive line shit together, it's going to be an injury year for the quarterback.
Yeah.
Dalton took how many falls?
Too many. I think it was the most sacked quarterback in the NFL last year.
Yeah, I'm sure he was like, I'm going to go home, boys. I'm going to go back to Dallas.
I don't know why. I get why they took Burrow. I get why the Bengals took Burrow, but I don't know why they didn't trade back and try and go for like someone like Jalen Hurts, someone who's mobile, someone who can do something. And I know that Jalen Hurts is on the mend.
I don't know why they didn't pick up Cam Newton. Cam Newton signs a 1-year deal with the Pats. You mean you couldn't talk Cam Newton into a 1 or 2 year deal with the Bengals and let Joe Burrow ride the bench a little bit?
At the veteran minimum at that?
And then chances are Cam Newton's going to get injured, so then you have Joe Burrow. What? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, what? There's no quarterbacks underneath Joe Burrow. Brandon Allen?
Who's that? Nobody.
And Ryan Finley?
Nobody.
Exactly. Nobody that can take over. Like I said, start Cam Newton, and then you've got Joe Burrow backing him up while also learning and looking at the playbook all day. Watching Cam Newton going, oh, I see what he did there. Oh, I definitely see what he should have done there. Everybody just wants this instant gratification.
Oh, man.
I get it. But, hey, offensive line, you got to put up a wall. Tom Brady went on his ass when the offensive line was shit.
Yep. They've got to improve that line. I don't know how they do it.
There's one quarterback that didn't need an offensive line in almost all time, and it's Michael Vick.
I knew you were going to say that.
I'm always going to say that. There's not a single other quarterback that could have succeeded the way that he did without an offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it.
Well, I think he quite honestly benefited from the pocket collapsing. You didn't know what the hell he was going to do. He could have thrown it 50 fucking yards.
Yeah, it was total improvisation.
Insane. His improv skills were insane.
Yeah.
By the way, I've got a bunch of Michael Vick cards just chilling in my basement. If you want some,
I think we need to do a live episode pretty soon.
Hell yeah! I've been on this huge
I'll frame those
trading card kick. I've been watching Gary Vaynerchuk and dude, I've been super into this trading card craze. And dude, last night a fucking Mike Trout autographed rookie card went for, get this, over $3 million yesterday.
What?
I'm telling you, a pristine Beckett or PSA rated 10. So it's 1 out of 10. 10 autographed Mike Trout card went for fucking over $3 million yesterday.
Jesus. What? See, I thought cards were going down because there was just such an abundance over amount of them that the value just wasn't there anymore.
It all depends on what you have, what you get, whatever.
Because I have a Joe Montana rookie card, a Steve Young rookie card, and a Jerry Rice rookie card, all sealed inside a plaque. I used to have this whole Deion Sanders. It was like in a 12 card thing, and it was just all his cards from the Redskins to the the Washington football team to the Falcons to the Niners to the Cowboys. Because Deion Sanders is hands down my favorite football player of all time. Of all time. There's nobody that lit up the highlight board to me that made me go, oh, you know.
He just recently signed with Barstool Sports because he said, screw you, ESPN. I'm gonna do my own thing. And
he's prime, baby.
He can do whatever the hell he wants with Barstool. He can't. There's not going to be a little censor on him. He can say whatever the hell he wants on Barstool, and I swear he's gonna be great for that company.
I love Deion.
Dude, he's great. Dude. He's great. I love his take on everything. I love his take on everything.
I love Prime. He's hands down my favorite athlete of all time that didn't wear a Bengals jersey. He's a stud. So is Barry Sanders. All right, let's do this. Let's end our show with our favorites of all time. Favorite quarterback of all time. Go.
Steve Young.
You always go Steve.
He's my dude, man. I did a fucking 4th grade book report on his ass. That's been my idol. I'm sorry.
All right.
Lefty, mobile, clutch, NFL MVP a couple times. I'm gonna take it.
I'm gonna take Michael Vick minus the charges.
Minus the charge.
Favorite running back of all time.
Okay, I just gotta say one thing on Michael Vick. The last time that I wore a Michael Vick jersey and someone said, "Ew, why are you wearing that?" I just said, "I'm more of a cat person."
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm laughing because it's funny, not because it's true. Oh man, that's a good one. I like that.
Okay, you said running back.
Favorite running back of all time. I'm just saying, if you had let's total hypothetical fantasy here. You have the Niners, and it's like you have a clean slate. We're going to give you these certain positions. Quarterback of all time. You're going to throw in Steve Young.
I gotta say Emmitt Smith.
Okay. Barry Sanders. I don't think there's.
Say that too.
I just don't think there's anybody that tore the field up like him. Emmitt's good. I met Emmitt. He's a short dude. I met him in Tahoe on the golf course.
He's a short dude.
I worked the NBC golf celebrity tournament, and I had to announce back to the booth on the 7th tee what club everybody was using. So when Mike Bibby came up, I had to be like, hey, Mike Bibby is using a 3-iron off the tee.
Mm-hmm.
Do you need to take a break?
No, my wife said some bad words in the background. She's afraid that she got hurt, but you're fine.
I will believe her.
Okay, great. Go.
So Mike Bibby and Mike Bibby's a terrible golfer, by the way.
I can imagine.
He's an awful golfer, but he's a great dude. Because I walked up to him and I was like, hey, excuse me, Mr. Bibby, what club will you be using? He goes, what club do you think I should use? So this is when Chris Webber played. And that was that year when they were on that run when they lost to the Lakers.
I will never forgive Robert Horry.
I'm sorry. When they had that run stolen from them by the refs and the Lakers.
They came out like 10 years after that game and said, yeah, the refs were paid. I was so pissed about that.
Because if that was literally Sacktown's year for their dynasty. That was Bobby Jackson, Divock, Stojakovic, Turkoglu, Weber, Bibby. Jesus Christ, what more do you need? I mean, do you want Michael Jordan too? I mean, that was an insane roster. They gave the Lakers everything and more, and they should have won. They had that stolen from him. Anyways, yeah, terrible golfer. But I met Emmitt Smith, and that dude was decked out. He had gator golf shoes on, but he was shorter than me. And Mike Bibby's eye level with me. We're both 6 feet. I mean, I think he might have been 6'1" on paper, but he was eye level to me. Weber, however, is a tall dude. I didn't realize how tall he was. Nice dude. Very, very nice dude. So is Charles Barkley. He was there too.
Mm-hmm.
Rice was there. Jerry Rice was there, but that was when he was with Oakland and he had the cornrows going and he was kind of a dick. I'm serious. Everybody signed my hat but him.
It's because dude, you get the big stars, right? Everyone will sign your hat except those dudes that like want to make money off of their little autograph sessions at like the local shop. I had Aikman, I had Smith, I had Bibby, Weber, Barkley, I had Kevin Nealon, I had I had a bunch of people. Anyways. I just want to say it pained me to see Jerry Rice in a fucking Seahawks jersey. It really
much as Oakland
Jerry
jersey?
Rice and what?
More than an Oakland jersey?
More than an Oakland jersey.
Really?
It's the division thing, dude.
I get it.
I can't stand.
I get it.
Oh, star players going to division rivals. It just pains me.
Yeah, I could see that. I would love to bring on Mike Tomlin as our head coach because I think the Bengals could use that fire. I do. I think they could use that fire. I'm going to kick some ass type of attitude.
But you can't get over the Steelers thing.
No, the Steelers wouldn't let him go unless his contract was completely up, type of deal. You know,
there were a couple of years ago where he was like on the chopping block.
Well,
they didn't know what he was going to do.
They played politics with Brett Favre when they were doing that bullshit. He had to go to the Jets before he could go to the Vikings because they were division rivals. It was just stupid. It was like, you know what? You're either the better team or you're not. I'd say, you know what? We'll see you on the field. That's the whole point of the sport, is to be the best.
True.
Anyways, I think we should probably wrap it up. I think my kids are getting restless. We're going to order pizza because it's my cheat meal day. So I will.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, dude. And it was fun. Thanks for doing this all impromptu. I didn't expect to come back on after yesterday's computer problems. So
it's all good. You got a new hard drive, I see. And your kids are no longer allowed to use your laptop?
Never again.
Learn that one the hard way.
Oh, God, dude. Yeah, we're not doing this shit again.
It's funny how $350 will change your mind, huh?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude, my kids, I swear to God, they've broken a TV, a Nintendo Switch, and my computer. Like, I swear to God, my son better get signed to a professional sports league and pay me back for all this shit.
You know, books only burn, they don't break.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Books only burn. They don't. Very true.
So weigh your which ones your kids are gonna do more, break or burn? Weigh them out.
Yep, their sound sustained reading time is going to be increased by tenfold now.
All right. Well, I'll sign off. Spenny, thank you.
Thanks, man.
So
later.
Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Remember to go check us out on Facebook, follow, subscribe to the podcast, and remember to stay sane out there. Cheers, everyone.